Hey everyone, this is Ryder from Skip. I hope you're doing well. It's Monday, December 21st. I have a very quick update for you on the breaking news that I covered in last night's video that a new deal has been reached. I'm going to talk about some of the specifics in this deal and what's still left. We still are waiting for the vote today from both the House and the Senate, and then to go to the President for his signature. So I'm going to talk about that timeline and the latest news. But more importantly, I'm going to talk about the PPP funding. So if you are a small business watching this video, stay tuned and stick around until the end, because I'm going to talk about, based on what we know so far, who would be eligible for a second PPP funding round. Okay, how to calculate that yourself, and also some changes to the terms of the first go-around, which includes changes to taxation and how the PPP funding will be taxed. So stick around till the end. Thank you so much for your support, and I hope you had a good weekend. Please hit subscribe and share this video if you know a small business that could benefit from this information. Of course, the caveat here is that as this information develops, as we get the final deal, as the SBA issues final guidance, this is subject to change. Any changes we're going to cover right here, as we've done since March. So we've been doing these videos for 10 months now. We're going to keep giving you up-to-date information on all this stimulus news. But here's the latest. I'm going to link to the video we did last night above in case you want to see the breaking news. The recap is an agreement in principle was reached late yesterday, hours before a midnight deadline, to avoid a government shutdown. So basically, both the House and the Senate have an additional 24 hours to finalize the deal. The clock is ticking. We've always known the clock is ticking. It's really ticking this time in terms of time left to get the vote passed and signed into law. So Mitch McConnell's message last night was this: my message to everyone out there struggling right now, help is on the way. Of course, there are a lot of memes out there right now making fun of the $600 stimulus checks. I mean, great, but not really, because it won't help the vast majority of people who've been struggling for months and months and months. $600 may be a drop in the bucket. So we would love to hear your comments on not only the stimulus check, but this question here: will you apply for a new PPP funding round or not? Let me go into the details. Okay, so here's everything you need to know about the second round of PPP funding based on what we know so far. This is on the Skip blog and on the Skip app, and I will leave links to this right in the description so you can look through this. And as new rules and regulations come to light, we will update this post and of course mention it in a future video. So, first question: can businesses get PPP funding a second time? The answer is yes. Here are their requirements. I will briefly give you the highlights. Businesses must have a 30% reduction in gross receipts during the last quarter of 2020, that's this quarter, October, November, December, compared with the last quarter of 2019. So the quick way to do it will be to look at your gross receipts from October, November, December last year versus that time period this year. And of course, we still have a couple weeks left in 2020, so you won't be able to calculate that fully just yet, but you should have a good idea in mind as to whether you will meet this 30% threshold or not. Are you still doing worse than you were last year? For many of you, the answer is yes. You are certainly doing worse than you were a year ago. And if that's the case, you will be able to reapply for a new PPP funding round. And the other change is the size of small businesses. Traditionally, it's been 500 or less. This time around, it will be 300 or less, okay? They really want to help small and medium-sized businesses. So 300 or less. So if you fell between 300 and 500, you will not be eligible for a new PPP funding round. The second big one I want to point out here is, will PPP funds be tax deductible? And the answer is yes. There has been uncertainty for months on whether you could deduct this, and the answer now is clarified, and the answer in the new proposed legislation would be yes. Your PPP funds would be tax deductible. And this is good news for many small businesses who rely on these tax deductions. So the money you received, whether that was in April, May, June, July, whenever, are tax deductible. Of course, we are not giving tax advice. This is our interpretation of the new legislation. You should certainly work with your CPA to figure this out in detail. But based on our reading of the legislation, your PPP funds, both this round and the next round, will be tax deductible. Okay, the maximum funding now this time around is $2 million. Of course, that's way higher than most of you are thinking. Just to keep that in mind, there's a slightly lower limit but the calculation will generally be the same, 2.5 times monthly payroll costs. And you'll have a certain period of time to calculate that, between 8 and 24 weeks, to be the quote covered period, okay? So again, we may see new rules specified by the SBA with regards to the time period you have to use the PPP funds and the time period you can count to calculate what you're eligible for. So we'll keep you updated on that. But our main conclusion here, and this is the good news, more businesses than we thought will be eligible for a second round of PPP funding. That is very good news. I hope it will help many of you. We would love to hear in the comments, A, do you plan on applying for another PPP round? If so, why? If not, why not? And B, we'd love to hear if you have shut down your business. We would love to hear as well. You know, a lot of the criticism now is that this is too little, too late, and millions of small businesses have already failed across the country. We'd love to hear if this happens to be you. So that's the latest news. Again, download the app to get the updates as we find out more information. As we did in the first round, we will certainly help you answer questions as it relates to PPP funding, and generally speaking, will it apply to your business situation or not? And before we end this video, be sure to subscribe. Here is what's in the agreement that we expect. Of course, there will be expanded benefits for gig workers and freelancers. There will be more help for nonprofit organizations, local newspapers, and radio and TV broadcasters. That includes live music venues as well. There will be funding for colleges and schools, funding for rental assistance, increased broadband access for everyone who needs remote access during the pandemic. There will be an extended eviction moratorium, and there will be a ban on surprise medical bills. Okay, so those are some of the big ones that you may not be thinking about yet, but overall, it's good news. This is good help for a lot of you, but please leave in the comments what you are most excited about that's in this bill, what you think is left out. We'll try to clarify and answer questions that you have. And of course, we will do a longer video once we get the full legislation details, so you know for sure what you can expect. As always, thank you so much for tuning in, supporting our channel, and sharing with a friend. So many of you have shared this with others. Most importantly, stay well, stay healthy. We hope that this holiday week you are staying safe. If you do decide to travel, which the CDC recommends against, if you do decide to travel, please stay safe and keep yourself and others in mind as well. As always, stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you tomorrow.